What a magnificently crunchy winter's day. Oops, I'm just out in the fields, as you can see our lovely little moon in the sky. Hello! Yes, I thought I'd come out, walk through all of that and have a chat about what's going on really. Mostly, I think, Pluto and Mars, because they're in opposition in the sky. Mars is debilitated, and it's just been a bit of a crazy time. And I just want to talk. First, I've been a bit missing action because it's been a bit tough. I'll go into that in a moment. But yeah, I put a lot of it down to Pluto and Mars, which is really interesting because, yeah, so I'm just going to get my notes out, make sure I don't lose my train of thought or anything. So, yeah, so my personal experience recently has been quite crazy. Because, I mean, you think about what does Mars represent? Machines, and my washing machine broke. And of course, unfortunately over at Christmas, it was like a bit of a, just all, everyone was just so full of a lot of anger, and it was difficult. And of course you think about those situations, and also over Christmas in the wider world we had plane crashes one day after another. I was sitting there thinking, crikey, what is this? But the most kind of crazy one that happened was someone decided to crash their car into me on purpose 3 times. I was like, what? I mean, I think as an astrologer, I've managed to take it quite well, because I kind of just put it back down to the insanity of, what's happening at the moment. But yeah, what on earth is with that? This woman was crazed. She was like rabid. She, don't quite know what was going on there. But yeah, probably got some planets around about the 6 or 7 degree mark of Cancer or Pluto. But on that subject, I want to also talk about the California fires, which is really crazy because you think there is fires and insanity going on, in California, and then we've got in England the coldest kind of temperatures that we've had in a while. Some parts of the UK getting down to minus 18.5, which is, quite severe in my point of view. And then you've got the extreme on the other side of the world. But, on California, I did say that in my previous video, it was a very short piece, that I did say that from 2016 until 2023, there could be problems that endanger the, disasters to property, land and things like that, the family unit. So I do think that there's a continued threat of that. But one interesting thing that because there were so many celebrities who were affected, we actually have good solid first times and dates of people who have been affected by this disaster. And I don't mean to sound excited, because it's not very nice, but at the same time, there's a positive side of it. Of course, there's many people who are normal communal garden folk like you or I, who were affected. But because we have such a huge outcry from people whose voices are very big, we find ourselves in a position where, actually things are looking like they're going to be making a slight change, because big people are saying, you know, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. But okay, so let's have a look at some of the celebrities. So we've got, first of all, Anthony Hopkins. So if we look at his chart, which I will pop up, sorry, I'm just trying to duck through the woods. I'm on a little adventure. So if you look at his first and his fourth ruler of self and property, you know, it's in that line and being influenced by Mars and Pluto. In his second house of money, you know, he's going to lose money over this, obviously. I mean, they'll have insurances and whatnot, but yeah. And then you've got another one, Juliane Hough. So that's her 4th house and a 10th house that are impacted. Plus her sun, which rules the 11th of great gains. You know, they're sitting amongst all that Mars and Pluto, all that energy. And that energy has managed to decimate her, you know, her house and, you know, the things that she loves, things that are precious to her. And, you know, it doesn't matter what walk of life you're from, we're all susceptible, especially when we have, you know, aspects like this. It's unpleasant. Paris Hilton. Now, we haven't got a very good birth time for her. It's rated C, but I think it's C or D. Yeah, it's rated C, but, you know, it's not the greatest thing. But you can see that her moon and Venus is all wrapped up in that energy. And, you know, I bet one of those in her real birth time owns the 4th or the 10th house, because she's coming to the forefront and her personal belongings and her home and her family are greatly impacted. I thought it was horrible because I watched a little video that she put up of what was left of her house, and it's really sad. You know, you may have a mentality of, oh, bloody rich people, but long and short of it is, at the end of the day, we are just people, and if any of us went through that, it would just be awful and life-changing. And then we have Mel Gibson. So his 4th ruler is in the 8th, and he was impacted, that 8th house. So that'll be the 8th and 2nd. That's the axis of which Mars and Pluto were sitting on. Then we've also got Billy Crystal as well. Now he's an interesting one because his 10th is Cancer, and it's impacted by the transit itself. So the other interesting one is Billy Crystal, because his 10th and 4th houses are that axis of Pluto, and oops, don't want to fall into that river. They are directly impacted by Mars and Pluto on the Cancer Capricorn axis, and you also have extra impact because there is a Paravata between Mars and the Moon, and the Moon sits in the 1st, Mars sits in the 4th. So I think that's an interesting thing, and that's why he's so impacted by that. But you know, this period of time has been incredibly insane, aggressive, explosive. I mean, just think of those, the explosion of that. I want to call it an Elon truck, Tesla truck, not the Muskmobile. Yeah, outside Donald Trump's hotel or whatever it was, and you think, well, if that's not someone trying to say something, I don't know what is. But yeah, I mean, wildfires, extreme weather over here, disasters, massive changes in politics. This is lovely, isn't it? How nice. But yeah, it's just been a little bit of a nightmare. And you know, as I've said, I've been personally affected by it. I didn't realise how much I would be impacted by the chaos. I mean, I've seen a lot of it around me because my Saturn, I'm going to give some information about myself away. My Saturn sits at 7 degrees of Capricorn. And I thought to myself, oh, it's it's one of those, technically an outer planet. It's not that significant. It's slow moving. It's generational. So it's not really gonna do much. But it has. It's impacted me. And yeah, it has been like quite a difficult time. My cat's been sick. She has been physically sick. I don't know how much you want to know about this. But she's been diagnosed with hypothyroidism. So that's a long-term condition that, so the birds are going nuts. Long-term condition that we have to, deal with and cope with, and has to be monitored, and will reduce her lifespan, unfortunately. But I'm just walking around I had a guinea pig die as well, end of last year, in October, and he's buried around here, bless him. So I'm just going to introduce you to my crazy hoard, just because this is kind of like casual, because I wanted to release something about what's going to be my predictions for the rest of the year. And I've kind of found myself feeling so kind of exhausted, overwhelmed by everything that's going on, that it's been incredibly difficult to record. So I just wanted to do something that was kind of relaxed, laid back, and not feeling like I'm so regimented in front of the camera, and also explain why I've been a bit lax in putting content up. But I will be putting more content up soon. There is a lot, going on. I think we're in for a very interesting year. I think August is going to be mayhem. But yeah. So mayhem. But I don't think we should make sure that we take these outer planets and these combinations quite seriously. And if it touches your life or your planets, we have to have some caution. We have to have a backup plan. We have to be prepared for that. But yeah, so that's that. But please leave a comment. If you had the endurance to sit here and listen to me blabber on this long, please leave a comment if you've been personally affected by this Mars Pluto stuff. Please, leave me a comment. Let me know what's happened. Then tell me your woes. And just say, tell me where you've got your planets, and because it's just interesting. We're here. I think sometimes as astrologers we can be morbid onlookers sometimes, but certainly with the things that have happened to me lately, I found that astrology has been very helpful in the regards that I can say I put that down to this planetary alignment, and it helps me kind of just accept that fate is at play. And in Britain we're not very religious, and atheism tends to be the strongest kind of thing that we have, and so we kind of go, oh yeah, well, there's no such thing as fate, because that's magical, marvelous stuff. But dipping into Hinduism and astrology in general, it's led me to have almost a crisis, to go, actually, there is so much fate. There's free will, don't get me wrong, but there is absolutely an element of fate in our existences, and I wholeheartedly believe that. And I find that incredibly frightening, that after many years of being alive and really thinking that life is what you make it, and it is to a certain extent, but there is a fate as well, and we can be impacted, and there are things that are beyond our control. That's scary. And I think especially when, you know, with Pluto and Mars, that's a significant time of lack of control. And, you know, I think I always say, when you have these planets impacting your own personal planets, you have to be worried and make good decisions. Like any free will that we have to exercise that in order to try and make the best results. And I think that's why I love astrology, because I believe that it is, you know, it forms a kind of protection for us, and it gives us a sense of being in control of our lives, even though I think that ultimately, you know, we are out of control. There are so many different things that impact us on a day-to-day basis. But yeah, so I hope you've enjoyed this little spiritual, philosophical talk about the nonsense that is going on at the moment. But yeah, I said I'd introduce you to the horde, so here they are. So here is Mr. Merry. Hello, good sir. Oh, hello, mister. He's very sociable. I've got the other two, which, this is Olive. Hello, Olive. And Minnie. Minnie. Come on, Minnie. Minnie. Here she is. Yeah, so this is Mary. He was one of the original guinea pigs that I had. I had two boys. And I adopted him. Please don't chew the cage. Please don't chew the cage, sweetheart. He's a good boy. He's a good boy. Yeah, but so I got him, and he had been neutered by his previous owners in an attempt to get the two boys to work together and live together. However, they still fought. So when I got them, I decided to get them girlfriends. And Olive was Mary's first girlfriend, and now he has two since Pip's gone. So yeah, live a pretty privileged life, don't you, sweetheart? And then we've got Kasumi. We call her Sumi for short, or Sticky, don't we? She's a lovely little sweetheart. Oh, I've been giving her eye drops, so she's a little mistrusting of me, because she's got some problems in her eyes as well at the moment. But yeah, can we see your eyes? Can we see? Oh, you can't see it properly, but yeah, she's got some ulcers in her eyes, haven't you, sweetheart? And hypothyroidism. Well, we've got that under control, haven't we? So yeah, that's the horde. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you when I see you. I just need some time to kind of get my stuff organised, but I will give you some predictions for the coming year, get back on the monthlies again, and we'll take it as it comes. But I hope you've had a good Christmas, and I hope you've had just a good new year and a good start, and you haven't had some crazy person crash their car into you 3 times. But yeah, thank you very much. Bye.